And just to read a little bit about iodine. So iodine is a trace mineral, and it's needed for hormone regulation, your thyroid, and your metabolism. And it sits in the thyroid and it kicks out actually all the other bad minerals. So let's say like bromine and fluoride and things like that, that are actually toxic to the body. I think that most people have an iodine deficiency. They're just not aware of it, because it shows up in different ways for different people, right? So for me, it
Right.
was fibrocystic breast disease. For other people, it's PCOS. You know, for others, it's issues with the thyroid, like hypothyroidism. Yeah. So about a year into taking, the iodine selenium. Of course, I also noticed that I need my vitamin D levels to be sufficient enough so that the iodine selenium work properly for everyone. But the first thing I think is when I see hormone imbalances is please check your iodine. Like, I mean, and she has a book called The Iodine Crisis. Her name is Lynn Farrell. Amazing book, by the way. When I was reading through that book, my eyes were opened into a whole other, like, now I'm beginning to understand what nutrition is all about. It's not about, taking one supplement or one mineral or anything. It's a combination of everything together.
Can anyone just like walk into a, nutrition store and get some iodine and get some, what would you recommend them to get some selenium and vitamin D3 and just kind of start experimenting? Like, is that okay to do?
So honestly, I don't know what you mean by like health store, because definitely don't. You're not referring to pharmacy, right? Because pharmaceutical
Right.
supplements are just throw them in the trash. There's no point
Yes,
of
yes.
going in there and buying anything, to be honest. I get all my supplements online, and obviously I always make sure that I'm getting the highest quality supplements. Something that the same doctor that checked my breasts for the lumps, the same one, she also checked my vitamin D levels, and I was super super low, and she gave me a 50,000 IU vitamin D supplement to take once a week for the first month, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then the following month, I would take it once every 2 weeks or something. So you kind of wean off of it slowly. And I started taking it as she said, and then I started having kidney problems and like kidney stones, and because that's not the
Wow.
right form of vitamin D. She was giving me D3 on its own. You're supposed to be taking vitamin K2 with your D3, because vitamin D3 does not go into the bones. It just circulates around your blood. If you don't have K2 to transport it into your bones, is where it belongs, right? So it's just insane. Like they don't tell you this stuff. They don't teach you this stuff. I don't think they even know this stuff, to be honest. But
Right.
I mean, it's really, really important to know. Please do not take vitamin D without K2, and it has to be D3, not D2, taken together. Of course, the sun is the absolute best way to get your vitamin D levels up. Again, I tested this on
Mm.
myself. I did 1 month every day, half an hour in the sun, and I swear to God, I doubled my vitamin D in 1 month without taking anything. And then, of course, the healthy fats help you absorb that vitamin D. So avocados
Mm,
and eggs
yes.
and, all the healthy nuts and all of that stuff. So
Yes,
you
yes.
really just have to kind of understand the whole picture. It's not just like one thing that's going to fix your issue. Of course, you have to pinpoint and see, like, yes, okay, I'm really deficient. I'm like severely deficient in iodine or copper or iron or whatever it is, but I need to know what works with it to be able to transport it to the right
And
place.
what do you think about blood tests? Like, do you think they're an accurate depiction of what's happening? No, not so much.
Not so much. So it really depends on what we're talking about. A lot of this is in the blood, you know what I mean? So it's not, you're not going to know if you're sufficient or not, or deficient, from a blood test. So I don't think that minerals are to be tested through the blood, to be honest. I really think that the best way to find out is to just look at your symptoms. What kind of symptoms are you
Mm.
having? Like, are you having brain fog and fatigue, like adrenal fatigue, and maybe you're getting dizzy every time you sit up? Like, that was something I was battling forever, forever. And they're always like, yeah, you have an iron deficiency, iron deficiency. Now, Asma, I don't want to get into all these other stuff, but like my iron deficiency was because I had mold and toxicity in my body, because mold and
Mm.
toxicity feed on iron. So they're eating my iron. But no one tells you that, right? Like, this is just stuff that I learned along my, not even vitamin D3. D3 sits in your
Mm.
bones. It does not sit in your
Okay.
blood. It makes no sense to test the blood unless you take a piece of bone. You actually do not know if you're deficient or
Yeah.
not. So again, look at your symptoms. Look at how are you feeling. Like, list the symptoms, and then just check and see what that means. And then you'll know like what to combine together to be able to bring those levels up, and you're gonna see your symptoms disappear for sure.
You mentioned bones. Now, a lot of the
Mhm.
women in my kind of field are, they're health conscious and we're training and we're working out and we're trying to keep our metabolism high and we're trying to keep our muscles strong because that's what fuels our metabolism as we age and also helps our bone density. Say you have, a regular woman who's been training for most of her life, say 15 years, and, she's kind of doing circuit training. She's like pretty active, right? And, she's focused on eating the right amount of protein and carbs and fats. And maybe she's like taking some calcium, maybe she's taking some, in terms of bone density, right? And you're talking about something completely different, which is like cellular. We're talking cellular level. How, like, is the weight training still going to help, or is it actually doing a disservice by depleting? And
Do you mean in terms of minerals or vitamin D?
in terms of everything, like vitamin D and minerals, like say we're talking about bone health, because they're going to the gym to keep up their bone density enough to like help women's bone density.
Okay, I have another opinion. Like I have a, very different opinion maybe about calcium. I,
Yes.
calcium can, can block your arteries and cause all sorts of things. I usually never ever recommend anyone taking calcium. But again, like if you're taking like a good form of I mean, it should definitely be taken through food and not supplement form. And then again, you need the K2 and the D3 to help put that in the bones as well. So I would say for active women, you need to be having magnesium, zinc, sodium, potassium, and iron, and the B complex vitamins. And I say this because our bodies are not able to make minerals. We have to actually supplement with them through the food, and there's different sources of minerals, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I mean, vitamin D, that's something that you can get from the sun. Your body can convert the sunlight to vitamin D, right? And it acts as a hormone, happy hormone and everything. So that's something our body can actually make, but we can't make magnesium. We can't make zinc. I went through like a little period of just, procrastinating and not wanting to go to the gym and not wanting to see anyone. We all go through these, emotional things. And something that I did not do was work out for like maybe, I don't know, 8, 9 months. I was like, my husband's like, I have this membership going. Are you going to come to the gym or not? I was like, yeah, I'll wake up tomorrow, and I never go. But in that time, I was also doing a cleanse. I was doing a candida cleanse, and I was doing a lot of chicken bone broth, which is packed with minerals by one of my favorite superfoods. And when I went back to the gym, I swear to God, I can lift the exact same weights, if not even more, because I was just in those 8 months. Yes, I did not move. I did not move much, right? But I was packing my body with all of these minerals, like over and over again. Every single day, I was having this bone broth every single day, and I was getting rid of the toxicity because I knew that I had like mold and fungus and all the stuff that was happening internally. I had no idea about. So minerals are so important. Without them, it doesn't matter how much protein you
Mm.
eat. It doesn't matter how much fats you eat, like healthy fats. Doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to be able to absorb them. You have to have the minerals so that you're able to absorb all the other macronutrients that we need. Basically, they're on fight or flight. And if you're on fight or flight, you're not going to be able to absorb any food or the nutrients in the food. You're not going to be able to sleep well. You're not going to be able to function properly or build muscle or do anything really. So I would tackle that first. Like, hey, you need to find at least an hour a day to chill. Like, just do something for yourself.
And they're like, so what about when people are saying, I'm not actually stressed though?
I think that everyone has some form of stress in their life. I do not believe, okay, maybe not super high levels, like if they're, just at home, but come on, being at home is stressful. You're not seeing people, you're not talking, you're not letting out, you're not sharing your thoughts and feelings with someone. You're alone. For example, you have kids. They come back and they need something from you, and you have all this stuff going on. That's a form of stress, in a way, right? Everyone has some type of stress. You just have to know how to deal with it. But I absolutely don't think that anyone is stress free, like completely stress free. Doesn't exist. This
Wow.
is life. Like, there's no way that we're gonna be stress free. Even when I was, before I had my child and before I was married, when I did not have that much responsibility, I was living with my parents, whatever. I used to think that I had no stress and no worries and whatever. But they came up later on, like, and especially when you're a mom, like these things, it challenges you in so many different ways, and all this traumas from your childhood start to come up, and you're like, oh my God, I'm repeating the same thing that my parents did, and it starts to come up, worthy of love or any of that. It happened to all of us. It's completely normal. You just have to know how to self-regulate. And honestly, for me, I have this amazing therapist that I'm sure you know. I think you know Sam Darash, right?
Yes.
He comes to and when we went through the 5 emotions and he was doing the cleanse for me, because there's like a deep cleanse, you literally feel like you run a marathon after that session. It's insane. But he does like an emotional cleanse for all 5 emotions. And things came up, like, I swear to God, I was like, what? Things, because he was talking to my subconscious mind. Things came up that I have never even thought about.
Makes our organs deplete and stagnant.
Yeah. So I honestly, I believe that emotions are the the main driver of all imbalances in the body. So in Chinese medicine, every organ is connected to a specific emotion. It's the minerals that are going to balance everything out and remove the fear. It's crazy because if you add a lot of Joe Dispenza, he talks about how you can heal the mind and the body and everything. You can heal your body and you can get anything that you want in life by just using your brain, just your mind. And he teaches you exactly how to get into the meditative state. So they did, there's a study that they did in this, and he talks about it in the book, where they had 70 participants, 35 of them were lifting weights, dumbbells for their biceps, and the other 35 were just meditating and imagining their muscles growing. And when they came to check the results, the people that were meditating had higher muscle growth percentage. So you can grow muscle without lifting a finger.
Do you believe when you're around toxic people that you can like shield yourself and guard?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I still think that you should not be there. Like if you notice that this environment I don't fit in this environment. It's not, I'm in a place where I don't want to be. I'm around people that I don't want to be around. That alone can stress out your body, even when you have the shield.
So, and I'm sure there's, somebody is going to watch this at some point and be like, how do I work with you? And what does it look like to work with you?
You can book a discovery call with me. So I have a link on my Instagram page, which is the .holistic practitioner. Obviously, previous to the call, what I usually do is I get a health assessment form. I'll send the client the health assessment form so that they can kind of fill out the history conversation. And if they want to continue, I do usually 6 sessions, 2 weeks apart, so that we can see that the improvements, if anything's happening, and we have the time to like test and see what works for that client. Discovery call is absolutely free. Like we can have this discussion and see where everything's coming from. And again,
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be your first client. Seriously, you're just speaking to some of my pain points right now that